So hello everybody, welcome to the video. In this video, I just want to talk about this drug called Deflazacort, and this is the drug used to treat some muscular pain and something like that. Why I chose this drug because let's see, I'll show you the structure if possible. Okay, why I chose this drug because it has some steroidal thing and steroidal skeleton. It's very common in hormones of invertebrates. We have a 17 membered carbon ring structure where we have a 3 6-membered ring and a 5-membered ring. It's also have an oxazoline structure, and we have a this long chain ketone and an ester. It's actually difficult to make. Actually, it's called the glucocorticoid drugs. So it means it involves glucose, cortex, and the steroid. So let's see what it's used to immunomodulatory. It means it will regulate how your immune system works. So it's also anti-inflammatory. So this kind of drugs is pretty common. Let's see how we can make this steroidal ring structure. And most of the synthesis I've seen actually making this, they don't start from the scratch. They already buy some compound which have this ring, and they mostly concentrate on how we can make this ring and other functional groups present in the ring. But in this video, I'll also show you how we can make this ring in first place. It's also biosynthesized. This ring is also biosynthesized but in our body. And how they design synthesis is they learn from how it is synthesized biologically. They will do some ring closing reaction. They take a long carbon chain with a double bonds, and they force the ring closing, and they force a ring closing in that. Therefore, we get this beautiful structure of 3 6-membered rings and the 5-membered rings. And then I'll show you one patent by Chinese company which I have patent to synthesis this drugs, and I also seen one paper they also try to synthesis it. Chinese patent is in Chinese, therefore I can't, but reactions I can somehow interpret. But in normal synthesis paper they will show you good reagents and all. It's very easy to understand, but I just wanted to show you this patent. And one more thing is, it stays in your body only for 1 to 1.9 hours. I think it's either is to off in 1 hour. That's good to know. I just don't want any drug to take much time in my body. So let's see how this drug is synthesized, and some good chemical reactions we can see and learn from them. So welcome again. So these are the steroidal hormones we have in our body. 4 hormones. Vitamin D is also steroidal, and the 3 other hormones we have in our body, they all are having a steroidal ring structure. It means steroids are synthesized in our body in some way. And okay, let's see it. Look, they are given also the steroidal synthesis using a mevalonic acid. We need a cholesterol C27 compound, and they make a C27. Well, let's see. The thing is simple actually. We need this is how it is biologically synthesized. We have a long chain with the double bonds at the right place, and we force the compound to cyclize in a way like that. We form an epoxide, though we can break that ring by acidifying one end, and we are forcing that ring to close. This is how it is. This is how we rearrange to form. This is how biologically these steroids are formed, and we are also copying the same thing. We are also going to have some long hydrocarbon chain, and we force them to close. That's how we are also can synthesis our steroids. And that's what I want to say. Whatever things I'm going to show from now, like to one patent and the synthesis paper, they never show you how to form this ring. They always start with some starting material which is used for making drugs. Making this kind of drugs, they buy starting material, and they make only the other functional groups how it can be made for the Deflazacort. So I just want to show how we can make the ring in first place. By we force a ring closing reaction. We have a leaving group at one end of the ring, and we will try to close it with the double bonds. And the driving forces, it forms a good. We have a good removal. I think that single bonds are easy to break, and we form multiple bonds. Let's see what we can do about it. So this is the patent I downloaded from net. This is a Chinese company having a patent for how to synthesize this drug. Actually, they're given how much. I actually translated in Google and read it. What are they given in this, or how much gram of the starting material, how much reagents we have to put, how much time we have to keep. That's kind of patent. That's kind of details they have given in this. But they also given reaction. For reactions, I don't need any language. Therefore, I thought I can show you some of the reactions. As I already told, they always start with some material which is close to the drug, which can be easily available like this kind of form which companies sell, or pretty common starting material to make this kind of steroidal drugs. They always start with it. They mostly concentrate on how to make the functional groups. What are things I've seen about the Deflazacort? All the synthesis paper are mainly concentrate about how we can make that oxazole in functional group. They didn't. They don't concentrate on how to make this ring starting from the scratch like that. So we have a epoxidation here. Mostly they could have that. They must be done with the MCPBA, I guess so. In the another synthesis paper, they also given the reagents. In that we will see the reagents. Now we just see what they are actually doing in each steps. First they do an epoxidation here, and then from there, let's see what they do. They do oxidation from alcohol to ketone, and then in the next step they just substituting an OH. Actually, I seen this pattern also another time, but I never understand how they suddenly substituted an OH here in some random place, and I don't know how. I just try to translate and read it also. I don't understand why they are, how they just suddenly got an OH here. If you have any idea, and you just tell me how they suddenly got an OH here and then again oxidize it to a ketone. The idea is they want to make oxazolin ring here, and they also form the skiffs base with some different kind of reagent there. They will have hydrazine kind of reagent where the other half is substituted by some other ester, but hydrazine with the keto group we have a loss of H2O, and this form double bond kind. This kind of compounds is called skiffs base, and they form that and they open the epoxide ring, and they have a NH2 and OH. We get a double bond usually if you, let's see, we have NH2 and OH, and they're going to get cyclized. See what reaction we got here is actually acetal reaction. Instead of diacetyl, we have this. They open up a epoxide ring with an ammonia, I guess, and then we have this NH2 and an OH. They make it to react with the formaldehyde, and it's a kind of an acetal reaction. Instead of a couple of OH, we have an OH and an NH2, and this is the thing we get, and they broke it into a ketone, and they almost formed it, and then they changed it into a beer. I think this is the final structure. No, OH only. I think this is the final structure they got. It looks pretty easy, but they didn't. They again reacted it with acetyl chloride, I guess. In that another paper, they will clearly show you with the reagents, so we can have a better understanding. But this thing, actually, I can actually understand what they are trying to do. They just make the ring, but the reactions are pretty not common. But we can understand it what they are making in this pattern. I will show you that synthesis paper where they will clearly show you reagents, and we can have a better idea in that. So guys, let's finally see the research paper where we can see the synthesis of the Deflazacort. Actually, it's quite recent one. It was published in 2019. They also start from this starting material, where the starting material is already used in some synthesis of other glucocorticoid drugs. Therefore, they use it to, like I already told, all of them are only concentrated about how they can make that oxazolin ring and other substitutions. No one will show you how they can make that 17-member cycle ring, but it was made by the ring closing reactions. They force a ring closing by opening a epoxy ring or using some leaving group. You can do that. So let's see how in this paper they have made the synthesis. Actually, I already told they are going to do an epoxy ring, like the same thing we seen in that pattern. They will form an epoxy ring, and using this different type of reagents, we get different type of products, like the oxone. There's something called oxone there. I thought it was ozone, but they're giving oxone. I don't know what oxone is. I should see it. But the other things I know, MPCB, all are peroxides. And then all these steps I already seen it. They are similar to what I have seen in that patent. And finally, oxazolin ring, same that NH2OH. Same that NH2OH thing is there. Therefore, it's similar to what I have seen in the patent. There is nothing new. Same that NH4OH, and the final substitution is also the formation of the Skiff's base. Final substitution is also, but the reagents and the solvents and the conditions are different. But the idea is very simple. We want to form this oxazolone ring and this Skiff's base thing. It's very simple. I don't think there's much complications here. Only how we are making the reaction setup is the thing. Let's see what kind of solvents they use. Pretty common solvents, and so that is what I have seen there also. So I will see in next week with some other good molecule with even more chemistry. So this is the second reaction in the patent. This is also similar. Everything is similar. We form an epoxide, and double bond. We form an epoxide instead of using a peroxide. We are using a different, like bromine water. We given a bromine and OH, and that will form an epoxide, and we substituting with an acid. And here we have okay. This thing is quite good here. We have an instead of having an amine and OH, we have an acid and methyl ester group here, and other processes are pretty similar, but this one thing is the only change. Instead of attacking with an amine, here we going the epoxide formation also, we are not going to use a peroxide, we are going to use a bromine water, and then we will, instead of, we are also using an acid. This is the only difference between these two things. This is the previous one we talked about. In this the only difference is we form an epoxy directly here, and we form it in a different way. Also, for that oxazolone ring, we are using an acid here, and there we just used an amine and OH next to each other.